Pokemon presents. Come here, ball. Great ball. Pokemon. Pokemon Day. I've already seen the presents, obviously, because that aired at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm recording this like a week before, so I have no idea what they're going to release or launch. But what I wanted to do this video was talk about 2026. I wanted to talk about what they might release, what they've released in the past, give my thoughts about will Gen 10 be there? That's the title of this video. Gen 10 finally coming? Who knows? I don't think so, but it might. We don't know. Anyways, I usually say, if you excuse me for 1 second. First ever Pokemon Day, February 27th, 3/27/1996. They released their very first game. That's what this is. That's what launched. I would say that is also the history of Pokemon Day. And so reality is that Pokemon Day 3/27 for a while, I was like, oh, maybe they should have Pokemon Day in January because it's like 151 Pokemon, but there's no 51st day of January. But then you could also do like January 5th at 1 p.m. I don't know. So I thought it had something to do with Pokemon numbers. 3/27 might. But I genuinely think Pokemon Day is just called Pokemon Day because this right here. Red and Green, the first games launched February 27th, 1996. My thoughts on this Pokemon Day, I wasn't alive. Do I know anyone that was alive? I know one person that was alive. Sorry, that's a lie. I know a lot of people that were alive during this time, but I know one person in my sphere that was alive during this time. Obviously my parents were, but that's not what we're talking about. One of my mods was actually alive during this time. Old Unk. Anyway, you know who you are. Shout out. I don't really have much to say about this one, I'm not gonna lie. It was cool. It was awesome. That's it. Okay, next. The next one is in 2016. They re-released on February 27th. The red, blue, yellow, green in Japan, were released to the Nintendo 3DS. They were only $10. I think this is also kind of what kickstarted Pokemon Day as a whole. Is it took them 1996 to 2016. That's what, 20 years? And then they re-released these games on their anniversary, on their 20th anniversary. That's also why it's the 20th anniversary of Pokemon at this time. That's why right now we're celebrating the 30th because it's 2026. You see? Okay. Anyways, my main thoughts with this was just like they didn't realize how big Pokemon had become is my guess. I'm speculating. I didn't think they realized how cool it was and how like big it had become until they re-released the games and they sold pretty well. They are faithful ports. There was some limited color. Yeah, they supported Pokemon Bank, which is something that's important. So where do I rank this one? Pretty low, if I'm going to be honest. I do not think this was a great Pokemon Day. I think it was great because we got the games again, but do I think it was everything that we wanted? Probably not, right? If we're just being honest, I don't think it did much for Pokemon Day as a whole, whereas now there's like events, there's a live stream, there's a show, there's a lot more there. So yeah, but anyways, they released that also in 2017. Again, this one is the lowest ranking. All they did is gave you a hat in Pokemon Go. So if you had Pokemon Go in 2017, Pikachu got a hat in the game. I do think that was all they did. I don't think I'm wrong in saying that, and if I am, we'll find out soon, but I'm pretty confident they just gave Pikachu a hat. Other things they did at that time, I'm trying to think. I think that was genuinely it. Yeah, there was no major stream. There were some community and merchandise events is what I have here. Not a lot. Anyways, moving on. So Pokemon Presents 2018. Pikachu Talk was an app that released everywhere internationally for Pokemon Day 2018. They released this app that had some things for Amazon Echo, Google Home devices, and other things, and you could ask Pikachu to do stuff. You can even use it today by just saying open Pikachu Talk. Do I think that works? I don't know. Let's find out. Alexa, open Pikachu Talk.
Okay, here's Pikachu Talk. Hello. With Pikachu Talk, you can talk to Pikachu in your own home. Pikachu is here now. Pikachu can understand what you say. What's your name? It's saying, I'm Pikachu. Nice to meet you, Pikachu. Why don't you try speaking to Pikachu?
Hi, Pikachu. Pikachu, tell me a funny story. Alexa, close Pikachu Talk. Alexa, off.
It has been stopped.
Thank you, Pokemon 2018. Yeah, Okay, this one actually made me laugh just now. So, what's my order so far? 1996 is just S tier because the game came out. Then 20th anniversary with like 2016, and they just re-released the games is mid. I'm just gonna say whether it was cool, mid, or lame. That's what I'm gonna go with. 2017 was lame. Obviously, you just got a hat. This one still works. Other key points that happened during this time. Other key points was a Snapchat lens that they released, and then they did movie nights. So I know even now, like Pokemon will like live stream like the anime shows, previews, stuff like that. This is kind of like one of the earliest things with that, and they streamed the I Choose You movie. I think it's still on YouTube for free, but I could be wrong about that. Yeah, and then apart from that, Pokemon Go Pikachu got its hat back. So really, this makes 2017 dumb, but there you go. If you got kids and stuff, you can open Pikachu Talk. That is a thing that can happen. Okay, 2019, they released Sword and Shield. That's awesome. I think people really like this. They released some shirts. They released merchandise. Pokemon Sword and Shield I've talked about with Dynamax, Gigantamax. They had DLCs, which came later, but still, I think this is overall great release. I mean, this single-handedly, this game, and I'm not like sugarcoating it, this game being able to play a Pokemon game on my TV, it reignited my love for Pokemon. I don't think I would still be a Pokemon fanatic if it wasn't for Sword and Shield. Were they the greatest games ever made? I don't know, maybe not. Was the wild area fleshed out well? I don't know, maybe not. Were Dynamax raid battles, could they have been better? Sure. But like through and through, like when it comes to Sword and Shield, like they were just spectacular games, in my opinion. I have never invested hours, love, time into Pokemon Sword and Shield as much as I did with this game, which is kind of sad to say, but I'm being honest. Anyways, apart from that, they did release, like I said, the shirt, and they released on Twitch. They started doing a lot more of those TV marathons of just random shows, anime episodes, that kind of stuff. Anyways, there's a cool one. Awesome. Based. Thumbs up from me. That's 2019. Moving on. 2020. They released the Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution movie. So it's the movie that has the CGI animation. I think they used some claymation there, but I could be wrong about that. So 2020, they released this movie. I thought it was good. It was just the normal movie though. There's really not, I mean, there's not much else with it. So it was released globally, excluding obviously Japan and Korea, and it was a Netflix original movie, and that was cool. Released on Pokemon Day. They also released this thing. Most people don't even know that Zarude exists, but Zarude is a Pokemon. It's a dark and grass type. It's a rogue monkey mythical Pokemon, specifically in the movie Secrets of the Jungle. It's also in a Pokemon Go event. This is something that they revealed on Pokemon Day. They teased it. I don't know if there was a trailer. I could be wrong about that, but they showed off this Pokemon, and then it was tied obviously to the movie that came out later in October. They released just random special events in Pokemon Go and Sword and Shield. This is when they started having like those little stickers on some of the TCG cards. That was the anniversary. I mean, they started that in 2016, but this is when they went like all in on like TCG cards being for Pokemon Day, and so they released a lot more TCG cards. Apart from that, again, we got the Pikachu hat. I mean, this was also during the pandemic, so the fact that they released anything I think is cool, but overall I think it was mid. I think it goes completely unseen, unknown, unheard of. Yeah. Okay. Starting in 2021 is when they actually started tying Pokemon Presents to Pokemon Day. So before this, they really didn't do that. It was just Pokemon Presents was its thing that they would be like, hey, there's a Pokemon Presents coming out 6 a.m. this time. And then it would, but then starting here is when they actually started tying it to Pokemon Day. So it's not much easier to go through, and it has duration and everything. So along showcase various elements, basically just to show that it's the 25th year anniversary. After that, they showed off the brand new Pokemon Snap game, the remake, or just various new elements revealed in it, things like that. So they showed another trailer of Pokemon Snap, which was a very fun game. They released some max raid battle events, including a Gigantamax Pikachu. They would get a variety of rewards. Then they released Pokemon Cafe Mix, which was a game that is for iOS. I do believe it's kind of fallen off, but basically you build a cafe with a bunch of different Pokemon, which is pretty cool. Pokemon Go, again, Kanto themed, and the Kanto raid weekend. Mostly what you need to know from this is the Pikachu with the hat came back is basically it. Master ZX, I know it's an iOS game, but doesn't really matter. Then this is when it gets big. They released Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Now, these were not good games in the slightest. They were glitchy, they were broken, but looking at the chibi forms, I think a lot of people were excited. I think the hardest thing with these games is through and through that they were just so faithful. Like, they were such faithful remakes that they didn't do anything. They also weren't set in platinum, which I think people just enjoyed more. And so I think it left a little bit to be desired, but still they released that. Then they released down here the overview and some details online. Now, after that, after people were like, oh, that's all we're getting for Sinnoh, they released Legends Arceus, the first of the Legends games. It looked insane. It looked really fun. It looked new, refreshing, and actually something that felt, at least for me as a fan, like, okay, they understand how many of us love Gen 4, and so now they're going all in on like this new game for Gen 4. That isn't entirely, yes, it was a new variation of Gen 4, but mostly it was just like a new game. It was its own thing. You had an open world-ish. You had raid bosses. You traveled. It was really, really cool. As far as the reveal, it just got everyone hyped. As far as the game, it was very grindy and hard to play at times. But overall, I think well liked. I think really cool. I just think the grindiness of it can be kind of daunting. What would I give 2021? That's great for me. I give it a good. I don't think this was meh at all. I think just seeing a Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl reveal, seeing the Arceus reveal, being a part of that, watching that happen, I was just hyped. I was really excited. Amazing. Now, the next Pokemon Day, they announced that Pokemon Go was going to add a Alolan Pokemon. They then announced that Pokemon Masters EX was getting more stuff. Cafe Remix is getting a Pokemon Day thing, and Pokemon Unite was going to have Duraludon. Yeah, Duraludon in the game. There was a Shaman event with Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. Now, I'll pause here to say the Shaman event was cool, but I think at this point, I can say that like people just stopped caring a lot about this game as much as like they wanted to care about the game, I guess is what I should say. So all I'll say about it is that it's not ranked as high for me, right? Like it's not as peak as I think it could have been, just because the reveal of these games were cool, but as far as like making the games something really special, I feel like I can bring my opinions into the game now that I've played it when I watched this presents. Arceus Daybreak, it was getting a content update, which had mass outbreaks, variety of updates, battle features, distribution of Ultra Balls, Gigaton Balls, Jet Balls were also given during the event. Basically, it was a software update. Basically, it fixed a lot of bugs. It made the game more fun, had more of these outbreaks, which were really cool. But at the end of the day, again, I feel like I can bring my opinion into the game, and the game didn't do a whole heck of a lot for me. I thought it was fun. I thought it was unique. I thought agile style, strong style. I thought there were really cool mechanics, but it was so grindy. Then we had a web series based on the Hisuian kind of game. And now this is what's really interesting is Legends Arceus was a different region, right? It was the Hisuian region, which obviously Sinnoh comes from that. But like in Legends ZA, we did not get that, which could have been cool. Like another region and regional variants. I don't think there was a single one, but still. Then we got a reveal of a new game, Scarlet and Violet. I have talked a lot about Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet were revealed. We saw the starters. We saw first gameplay. We saw characters running around. That thing, if I remember correctly, that trailer even looked like a slideshow. Like, and that's what we got. We got slideshow the game because the Switch could just not run it. But I'm only rating the presents. I'm not rating the game itself. And so because of that, I'm going to say the Pokemon presenting us with another generation, right? Last time we had Legends Arceus and Sinnoh, or Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, and now we have Scarlet and Violet. I wonder if you're noticing a pattern here. But this, for me, the start of the 9th generation, back in 2022, we have not gotten a new generation in 4 years. I thought this was really, really cool. 2019, we got teased for Sword and Shield. And then 2022, we now have a new generation. So 3 years, keep that in mind. So yeah, we got Sword and Shield, which was cool. Yeah, what would I rate this? I'm gonna say mid, and here's why. Is the game, the trailer itself of Scarlet and Violet looked like a slideshow. Like it already didn't look good. And the game itself, when it came out, already was not like the best game. Like it was fun, but it wasn't like the greatest game ever, you know? So yeah, I'll give it mid. 2023, we had focused around the Pokemon World Championships in 2023. It revealed the date, location, the first look. Now, it did not release tickets. Keep that in mind. It did not release tickets. However, it still talked about World. That'll come up here soon. Then you have the second segment, which was a little bit longer, but the classic reveal, Pokemon trading card game Game Classic Premium set piece, which features a combination of classic and new cards, as well as special board, unique damage counters, and more, was due for a release. Did it ever come out? I don't know. I didn't even know this was in the presents. I'm also kind of learning with you guys. It's great. Pokemon Concierge came out. I did watch all of it. If you watch my interview with Spraggles, we talked about it briefly. It's a great show, and I think even watching the presents of this trailer and this series coming out, I was excited. I was happy about it. Zacian came out to Unite, which I believe even to now, Zacian is an S tier character. Like, I think it's still just broken. Shocker. Paldea was coming to Cafe Remit. Not that big of a shock there. Masters EX stuff. Don't care about that. And then Sleep. Now, this might come into play later, but in 2023, we were shown that an app was going to track your sleep style, and it revealed that it was going to launch in summer of 2023. Then the Go Plus Plus was reintroduced. The ability to use Great Balls and Ultra Balls, it finalized. It also explained that its Pokemon Go features included also auto catch and the ability to use Great Balls and Ultra Balls. This device also works with Pokemon Sleep. There's a Pikachu inside of there that interacts with you. Connecting it with Pokemon Go, you'll get special research to get a Snorlax wearing a nightcap. Through and through, what you should know about this is it just released the idea. It was kind of like, remember in Heart Gold and Soul Silver how they had that like Pokemon thing that you kept on your pocket? Anyways, it was like that. 2 new Pokemon would be added to the game, Walking Wake and Iron Leaves, and a Terra Raid battle. So it was cool. Scarlet and Violet was going to be able to connect with Pokemon Go. Available after the presets, the connectivity allows for players to send postcards from Pokemon Go to Pokemon Scarlet Violet, to access Gimme Gold roaming form in Pokemon Go, and change the form of Vivian in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And then after that, we got a trailer, the reveal of Teal Mask and Indigo Disc set for that fall. So again, we had Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl in 2021. 2022 showed us this game that released in the fall. Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl released in the fall. Then Scarlet Violet released in the fall. And then we were going to get these DLCs, and the first one, that's right, came out in the fall. So we're seeing this pattern of new games coming out, and then they come out in the fall. Then we have 2024, which again, 2023 did not release a new game, but it still, I thought was cool. Terra Raid battles with our signature 3, Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard. We got a little brief hint that Galar was going to be coming to Pokemon Go, and then event coming in Pokemon Go to tie in with the new automated series Pokemon Horizon. So you can see Cap right there, Ceruledge from the Explorers. Pokemon Sleep revealed that Raikou was coming. For anyone that was playing it, again, I just don't care about Masters EX, but they released Mega Tyranitar and Greta and Glamora. Cafe Remix showed that Gimmighoul was coming. Pokemon Unite showed new Pokemon. The release of additional of Miraidon into the game, as well as announcing the Phalanx will be coming to Pokemon Unite, and Ceruledge will follow shortly after. Then we got the release of Pocket, or we got the trailer for a brand new mobile game called Pocket. They have immersive artwork. This game is still really popular. People still love this game, and they showed that. And then Legends ZA. Important note about this, again, we got a reveal for a new thing, and then we had the little Mega Evolved logo. I think people were hyped about it. I'm going to be honest, I was not a fan of X and Y. I did not think they were great games. I just thought the fact that Gym 1 is level 12 and Gym 2 is level 25 speaks for itself, as how the pacing was just all over the place. And then Gym 3, right afterwards, you unlocked Mega Evolution. So I liked that for most of the game you had Megas, but also I didn't like the pacing in it, and that's just my 2 cents. But still, they released a new game. We had a teaser. It wasn't really a trailer, but it was a teaser, and it was cool. And so because of that teaser, I'm going to give this one still, I'm going to give it a meh, because I didn't care for X and Y. And so why would I care about Legends ZA? I was excited about a new Legends game for sure. And let me be clear, I do really enjoy Legends ZA now that I've played it. I don't love the DLC, but I do love the game. I've streamed the game. I've said many times that I really like the game. I like the new Megas, but we got a teaser. Then in 2025, the most recent, Pokemon Concierge was getting a season 2, Pokemon Go Tour, and there was a new season. Masters EX was getting stuff. Cafe Remix was getting stuff. Noticing a pattern. Cresselia vs Darkrai. We're going to be in Pokemon Sleep. Unite, we're getting new Pokemon. Like, there's constant updates, right? Pokemon TCG Pocket, there is Triumphant Light, so a whole new case of cards. Pokemon DCG showcased Mega Lucario and Mega Gardevoir, which I actually have. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet showed new events. And then we got the reveal for this. Pokemon Champions, which I've talked about a lot, so I'm not going to talk about it here, but it was hype. Then we heard that main series Pokemon titles would have Latin American Spanish language versions, starting with Legends ZA. And then Legends ZA got a second trailer, which would then come out later that fall, which then brings me to 2026. But before I do that, I will say that I was hyped after seeing the trailer, after seeing Champions. I was hyped. I was really excited about this, and this made me really excited for the game as a whole. 2026 showed us that there was some new Legos, and new Legos. They've re-released Fire Red and Leaf Green for now $20 instead of $10 when they already have a GBA port in the game. But the idea is that this is going to link with Pokemon Pokemon Home. We know that Pokopia is coming out soon, so we've had a final preview already for it. It's coming out next month. And so that brings me to the new Pokemon Presents. Again, this is what we have so far. Pokemon Day has become like a week thing. There's a lot of hype around it. People are building up to it. I think one of two things are coming in this Pokemon Presents. A, we haven't gotten a new generation in a really long time. Generation 9 being Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet tease was in 2022. So it's been 3 years now. Now we're into our 4th year. I think we're definitely getting some more stuff. I think what you can expect to see from the Presents is a little teaser about Cafe Mix, a little teaser about Pokemon Sleep, a little teaser about Masters EX, a little teaser about TCG Pocket, a little teaser about Unite, and then some heavy hitters. And I think we might see trailers from the new show. I think we just might see some things, and I'm really excited. But I think that with the Pokopia reviews that have surfaced, I'm really hyped for this game. I think it will be a really great game, and I think that's really exciting. But I am anticipating Gen 10. I think that we're finally going to see Gen 10. It's been now 4 years instead of 3. We always at the end of Pokemon Day have been getting a tease, a trailer, a something. And if we don't get a tease or trailer after all the leaks that have already happened, I've talked about that on this channel, then I would be shocked. That's it. Those are my feelings, my thoughts about Pokemon Day. And with that, happy Pokemon Day. I hope you watch the Presents. I do think that maybe we might see some stuff about Worlds. I think it's, yeah, I can't say for sure, but I think it's possible, in which case I'm hoping for Worlds tickets. I will be going again this year. But yeah, with that, I hope you learned something about Pokemon Day. I hope you're celebrating Pokemon Day with whatever that means to you. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.